Let's hear it. Let's hear it, ladies. You know, and we're not done yet. We're not done. We still have more to come for you. We are celebrating women today. It is International Women's Day. It has been so wonderful up until now and so inspiring. Yeah. And I think it's wonderful. And I think right now we have somebody else who can inspire us. The Prime Minister of Canada joining us right now, Justin Trudeau.
So good to see you.
How are you?
Nice to
see you.
See you as well.
Welcome to the comfy couch.
Pleasure. Good to see you.
Have a seat in the hot seat right now.
My pleasure.
These women want to grill you on a few things.
There we go.
You are and we hear this all the time. You're a self-described feminist. All right, how can you be a feminist?
Very simple. If you believe that men and women should be equal, and you are convinced that there's a lot more work we have to do, you get to be a feminist.
You also say that we have to make sure we raise our boys to be feminists because that'll help combat the culture of sexism. How do we do that?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's International Women's Day, so a lot of people are saying, okay, I'm going to call my niece or my daughter or my aunt. Call your nephew and your son and your uncle as well to talk about how we can all be better partners and allies in making sure that women's issues are everybody's issues, and equality is something we all have to fight for as partners and allies every single day.
And you've taken a step as well to ensure that the ratio of men and women on cabinet right there is equal. How does that really relay into life and the corporate world and just for everyone else who's watching that?
Well, first of all, demonstrating that it can be done and you can put together an extraordinary merit-based cabinet with half men, half women is itself a good example. But that's not really why we did it. We did it because you actually get a better quality of decision-making when you have an equal number of women around the table, when you have a full range of diversity of voices, of backgrounds, of stories. And what we've been able to do with that cabinet has led us to this budget we just put forward that puts gender equality and fairness at the heart of our economic plan as a country. You cannot actually create the growth, the success, the opportunities for everyone unless you are including everyone in those and reducing barriers, whether it's moving forward on pay equity, increasing our investments in childcare, strengthening the Canada Child Benefit, doing a whole bunch of things from more shelters to combat domestic violence to moving forward on getting more women into trades. There's all sorts of things we have to do. There's not any one thing. But this is something that isn't just the right thing to do or a good thing to do. It's actually the smart economic thing to do.
And you speak of the budget, and it's no accident or just by design that the budget itself, the actual physical budget, had a purple cover. In fact, it was, and I'm not going to put you on the spot with the name of that purple. I think it was 8688 ultraviolet or something, but it was the color chosen by Pantone to be the official color of the year of International Women's Day. So purple, it was very important in that budget.
There we go. I'm glad to learn something new about the budget. I am focused on what's in the budget, not what's on the cover. But I'm glad we have someone on that. There we go.
I have lots to talk to you about. Now, can we still? Do we have to take a break or do? Okay, would you talk a little bit more? Because earlier today, I was trying to think of a woman who I really wanted to celebrate today, and Viola Desmond came to mind. Viola Desmond will be the woman who is on our $10 bill. Years before Rosa Parks had stood up for black people in this country by defying a theater in New Glasgow and actually getting arrested for it. But as you sat here, there is another woman who I have idolized ever since I was a kid, and even more so after meeting her, and that is your mom. Yeah. Here is a woman who was thrust into the public spotlight who didn't want to be there, and had suffered great anguish because of that, and then rose above that and is now teaching others how to do that.
Yeah. No, her strength. Just as an amazing grandma now, but also someone who is out destigmatizing mental health, talking about brain health, talking about how we can do a better job of being healthy in every possible way. It's something that inspires me every day. I mean, I talk a lot about strength, and my dad was very classically strong in all sorts of ways, but I learned real strength from my mom. The strength in vulnerability, the strength in compassion, the strength in being open to each other is something that I love my mom very much, and I'm happy to celebrate her and Viola Desmond and a whole bunch of other people.
All of them
and of
in
course,
your life.
Yeah, your wife. I just think of Sophie being that open as well, and doing a lot of those things that your mom even does in terms of speaking to the public and reaching out at any point. So that must make you proud as well.
Question, your daughter. I know she's very young, but if she chooses to run for office one day, what would you say?
Look out. Like my dad before me, I certainly don't hope my kids go into politics. What I hope for them, all of them, is that they figure out their best way of making a difference, and that's I think what any parent wants for their kids. And that's but the reminder today is, yes, let's talk about how we're raising our daughters to be feminists, but let's also talk about how we're raising our sons to be feminists.
And should we? I don't know if we can get a shot on 6 or who can get it. Maybe Al, you can get it. The socks today. We were talking about that Pantone color.
There you
of the
go.
budget.
I knew you were going to come back to that. I'm like, oh, there we go.
So take a look at these. We've got the women's socks on here. You are doing a number of events today celebrating Women's Day. Tell me about that.
Well, we're actually this afternoon talking about the Canada Child Benefit, which we brought in 2 years ago, that is making a huge difference in the lives of low-income and middle-income families across this country. 9 out of 10 families get more money every month, tax-free, to help with the cost of raising their kids. And what we did actually this year, because it is working so well and the economy is growing, because we're putting more money in the pockets of people who actually need it, we're able to index it 2 years earlier than we thought. So it's going to start increasing with the cost of living and gradually every year, which is a really good thing. But we're also talking about, I have a lot of conversations with people who say, the Canada Child Benefit has made a huge difference in my community, in my neighborhood, but I don't have any kids. What are you doing for us? And that's why this year we're moving forward with the Canada Workers Benefit that is actually giving more money to low-income workers to incentivize getting into the workforce, staying in the workforce, and it's going to make a huge difference in the lives of a lot of people.
Much work to do, but we are celebrating International Women's Day, so I came up with this. I'm known for my hard-hitting questions. If you had to choose, who is the ultimate superhero? Mr. Prime Minister, would you choose 1, Wonder Woman, 2, Lara Croft, or 3, Storm? Who is the ultimate female super? Yeah, this is a serious question.
I don't know. The fact that
Please just answer the question, Mr. Prime Minister.
Raised on the classics and Greek mythology means I'm going to have to go with Diana, with Wonder Woman.
Those who agree? Oh, I don't know. Okay. Now, we do have to take a quick break. When we come back, this is news that's important to men and women. We have had so much transpire about tariffs on steel and aluminum, not only in the last week, but in the last 24 hours. I want to try and make some sense of it and what it could mean for Canada and what direction we might be headed in just a moment. So stay with us here on Breakfast Television. Oh, you want to ask right now? Oh, okay. Your people say you have to get going.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
They're the boss of you.
There you go. I have lots of bosses.
So very quickly, we had so much change even this morning.
We're going to stay focused on negotiating NAFTA, on improving NAFTA, on making sure that everyone gets included in trade deals. Modern trade deals should make sure we're talking about labor standards, talk about women's rights, talk about all that. We're going to keep pushing on that. The president has said, look, if we get to a position where we have successfully renegotiated NAFTA, there won't be any tariffs for Canada. We're going to see what he actually announces later today, but we're continuing to push on, getting the right deal for Canada, getting the right deal for Canadians, getting the right deal for everyone.
All right. Okay, you do have to get going. So I want to thank you for spending these few minutes with us here today, celebrating the day.
Glad to be here to talk about International Women's Day and apparently Pantone color purple.
Exactly.
News you can lose with Kevin Franklin.
The Prime Minister, everybody. We'll be back on BP 855.